afternoon. Welcome to Ben Franklin Rides Again. And why don't you join me in the garage for another maintenance day, a fairly easy light one. We're going to change out some shock absorbers on the front leading link. Currently, there's a pair of Öhlins that came on the original front end with this motorcycle. They're spec'd from a Yamaha FJR 1300 bike, and they were for twin rear suspension on that bike. They work on the front end okay on this, but they are not optimal. They're not really great for off-road. I don't think they're valved correctly, and I have broken them a couple of times. But they're currently on as placeholders because I sent my TFX shocks back to Ted Porter's Beamer shop for rebuild, since they had the seals failed after an awful lot of sandy, dirty riding. And you'll see some custom fabricated dust boots on these Öhlins that are going to go onto the TFX shocks as they're replaced into this leading link front end. So Öhlin shocks are fine, but the TFX ones are more adjustable with both high-speed and low-speed compression, damping adjustment, and rebound, whereas the Öhlins only has one compression adjustment and one rebound adjustment on them. Also, spring rates, I got dialed in a little better on the TFX shocks, so that's not a bad thing either. With a lot of help from my friend Jeff Favorite over at Ted Porter's Beamer shop. So let's take a look at the TFX shocks. These just were unboxed and came back all clean with fresh seals, polished shafts, all that kind of good stuff. And that's what's going to go back onto the front end. So I'll set you guys down here and run a couple of cameras and see if we can't get these babies changed out. Okay, let's take it up in the air. We'll use the front cross member of the sidecar subframe as a lift point. Nice 3-ton jack. Okay, front wheel is off the ground, so shocks are at full extension. Stuff feels good. Steering dampener is doing its job. No slop anywhere. Shouldn't be, but hey, never hurts to check. Okay, so let's kill a couple of zip ties. These guys are securing my ABS wheel speed sensor wire. So always important to have that secured, as we learned on the rattlesnake ride that when the ABS fails, the DC transmission is not happy. Okay, this guy's loose. Over here, put this one loose. Alright, and since we have the toys, let's spin those out. Now on the bottom, I think we got 17s with a 17s with a double jam nut. Okay, jam nut unlocked. Spin that one out. Okay, one shock, free floating. Now, to get these in and out, since we're doing both at once instead of one at a time, let's go unloosen the other side and just drop the swing arm down. Give ourselves a little free room to work. Shocks are free. They're kind of trapped in there, just dimensions until we raise it up a little bit. So let's do that. And they nearly fall out. Okay, back to being spares for when it's time to rebuild the TFX units again. The Ohlins go back on the shelf. Note the illustrious Chinese end piece that I didn't want to spend $200 from Ohlins on, so a AliExpress for about 10 bucks, and they work just fine. Same on the other side. This one has a different extension, trying to get the same length. This is actually a factory Ohlins end left that didn't break. Okay, the spiffy rebuilt TFX shocks. Again, I like that these have both a high speed and a low speed compression adjustment, and of course the rebound adjuster on the bottom here. These probably have around 12,000 miles on them, maybe, who knows, maybe a little more, but I found playing in the sand, the seals do tend to go to hell on them. So that's these dust boots. I just fabbed them up recently out of some genuine aerospace leftover rubber, and we're going to switch them on to these shocks as they get reinstalled. And the shocks are clocked with the reservoir not in perfect alignment with the end piece. That's intentional so that they don't interfere with the tire. So they are a left facing this way, right on the right hand side of the bike, and a right hand side. So we see the plane that the shock mounts on and that the reservoir is off a little bit to keep it out of harm's way with the tire. And why don't we even just clean the dust boots up a little bit before we put them on, since they have seen some off-road adventure. Soapy water with some terpene citrus cleaner in it, just for fun. Mostly get it for cosmetics, get the dust off, which will be right back on there as soon as I ride it again. And I'm sure you can buy some spiffy looking shock boots that will go on here and look different than these do, better in some people's opinion, and you know, that's a personal choice. I was kind of a cheap bastard, so I took some scrap material and some leftover hardware laying around and just punched holes and created these bad boys. Okay, insert shock absorber into dust boot. Ooh, I think we maybe have a winner there. Oh yeah, just right. What the heck? Okay, so we'll make a small incision for the hose clamp to go through here, where I had the zip tie before. There we go. I don't know if I'd call that a thing of beauty, but it's a thing of function. Part of what I like about these TFX shocks too is they're probably 3-4 millimeters larger shaft diameter and piston diameter in the shock than the old ones were, which is a pretty cool thing for the type of beating that this rig gets. Okay, so let's put a sleeve on the next shock. visually appealing as that's going to get. Put the bottom bolt in. Go, sit still. Now this can be done one shock at a time, as I demonstrated a while back. However, it's a whole lot easier to do them both at once because you can drop the swing arm low enough to where the top shock just goes into this cutout without having to have the spring compressed in. It's in. Nothing's hitting. Okay, we're good. Let's put the jam nut on. I don't know about y'all, but I personally feel the double jam nuts like this type of setup are one of the best locking features you can have. If you jam a nut tight against another one, I have never seen that back off with vibration. And it doesn't take all that much force to make it locked up tight and solid. Okay, let's jam that snug. Bold statement saying I don't think that's going anywhere. Top's tight, bottom's tight. Hose clamps on, boots on, new shocks are on. Baby, let's kill some zip ties and make sure that ABS wire stays out of mission. All right, wire secure, shocks on, boots on. I don't think the adjustments got screwed with on damping. Well, sag looks like it's probably just fine. Bouncing those of the sidecar wheel. I think we're in good shape. I got the rebound dialed up a little bit, and I've got the high-speed damping pretty darn low on this, just because it seems like the thing to do. I fiddled with those settings at speed on washboard gravel roads quite a bit, and finally got it set up where I like it. And I think we probably need to go for a ride the next step pays this operation. Okay, and there we are. The installed shock absorber on each side with some spiffy military grade rubber boots and clamped in place with the ABS wire kind of out of the way, at least from getting caught in all kinds of stuff. So I think we are good to go. Let's take this baby for a ride somewhere. Well, I am happy having the TFX shocks back on the rig. It was also fun putting a camera on the wheel over some washboards at speed. I didn't see a lot of daylight under the tire, so we will call it a win. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the rest of that ride out into the desert at night when Ben Franklin rides again.